Welcome to podcast number 220. Can you make decisions at the place of work? If not, you may be in trouble.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're being successful. I'm still out here in Washington. I'm in the hotel room this morning. So recording this for you and super excited because it's a really good topic, and it sheds some light on some of the things that I've been saying recently about the difficulties of some of the traditional scheduling methods that we tend to use. So the topic for today's podcast is seeing at the Gemba. So the Gemba means, I wrote the actual definition down here, but it's the actual place of work, meaning where work is taking place. So it's a Japanese word. So seeing at the place of work is the title of the podcast. And the reason that it makes sense to me that we talk about this is because of a word called latency. So I looked up the word latency in or online rather, and it says the delay before a transfer of data. And so what it means to me is when we talk about latency, it's talking about the duration of time between a needed action takes place. And so there's latency in decision making, there's latency in the removal of roadblocks, there's latency in the recovering of projects. And this is something that's on my mind. I went through a Scrum training the other day with my favorite person, Felipe Engineer. I love that guy. And he did a fantastic job. The course is great. Scrum is 10 to 20 times better than you think it is. And it's... if you hear some background noise, my son Reno's getting ready for our training in the background, so I apologize. But anyway, the Scrum training is like 10, 20 times better, more in depth than you think Scrum could ever be just by seeing some of the simple concepts. Anyway, in the training, he was talking about the concept that teams that decide under 5 hours or make decisions or correct issues or decide to act on issues or problems on the project under a 5-hour window have such a higher percentage or a success rate percentage on their projects and in their project management as a whole. I went back and looked at some of those. One of the main things that I wanted to talk to you about in reference to that latency is the project success rate. So when studying a number, and I'm talking thousands of projects, there was the percentage of successful projects for the traditional project management methods, and with CPM is only 26% success rates. Absolute failures are a minimum of 21%, and projects that are challenged are at 53%. When you switch to systems like Scrum, the percentages increase to at a minimum of 42% success rate, 50% that are somewhat challenged, but those in the studies, according to Sutherland, said, those are agile, those are done in Scrum, those are done with lean project management techniques in name only, but the failure rate was only 8%. So that's a huge drop from 26% to 42%. And the biggest difference was the latency, meaning how quickly does a team see and decide to do something about problems? So even though these numbers aren't like 26 to 100%, it's only 26 to 42%, that's a huge increase in the amount of successful projects, and 21% down to 8% for failed projects is a huge decrease, and I'm very, very happy with those numbers. I've also seen similar numbers. So here's the point. If a team can identify and then decide or begin to correct situations in under 5 hours, they are going to win. And so I really want to cover that. I'm going to cover that principle today on how we should be correcting issues quickly and immediately. So before we do that, I have three little things of scaffolding on the podcast ahead of when I cover this quick focus, this quick principle today on this podcast on seeing at the place of work. So first of all, principle number 11, process not people, was a small chapter that was going to make its way into elevating construction superintendents, but it didn't. Again, because I wanted 11 out of 10 quality sections for you. This right here didn't make the cut, but it's good information, so I saved it. So this would have been principle 11, and it's called process, not people. Bad leaders blame people. Good leaders blame processes and bad behaviors, not people. On a project site, more will be accomplished, more trust will be built, and your leadership will thrive as you blame processes and behaviors and not the people themselves. Shaming means that you blame the person and who they are. And I would also say that guilt or proper accountability is focused on what they are doing. That's a little sidebar. Now back to the script. Leaders never shame, but instead always strive to correct bad behavior and coach for improvement. And they always focus first on process and finding out what went wrong from the structure and process standpoint. If you in your leadership begin to think in this way, you will be forced to think creatively, solve problems, improve processes, and coach for bad behavior instead of making someone the scapegoat for what is going wrong. You have to believe that people are capable of amazing things with the proper coaching and mentoring. You have to believe that there is always a level of support and process that needs to happen so that people can do their best work. If you do this, you will begin to find the actual root cause of problems on site, develop people so that they can perform, and correct bad behaviors. Even when you have to remove someone to a safer location or terminate employees who continue bad behavior, the focus is still on the process and behavior rather than the person. So I really enjoy that. That's a lean concept. A lot of lean folks don't also mention behavior. I do. I don't believe that we should blame people, but there are two things at play here, processes and behaviors that are behind them. So we have to be willing to correct both. So what am I excited about in life? I'll tell you a little funny thing. So one of the other persons that are, well, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying I didn't follow up, but somebody else scheduled the hotel for our Washington trip. And when we got here, we were in a hotel, or we were scheduled to be in a hotel without a hot tub. And I'm like, okay, so here's a core value at Elevate Construction. Do not schedule hotels without hot tubs. And so I went back to my notes and my standing tactical orders for Elevate Construction for anybody that works here. And it's just kind of a funny little thing. It's not, I don't take it too seriously, but I was like, your standing tactical orders for working at Elevate Construction are, number one, to have fun. Number two, only schedule hotels with hot tubs. Number three, 3S your area daily and make lean improvements. Then huddle every day. Take time to reflect, care for your family, and make your work product magical. So those are the only like key secret sauce items that we have to follow at Elevate. So I think that's funny. So I told Reno, I was like, hey, I will literally give you $50 if you find a hotel with a hot tub. And like within 3 seconds, he found one when I couldn't. I'm like, okay. So now I owe him $50, but we got a hotel with a hot tub, so I'm super excited about that. That's just one of those things that relaxes me and de-stresses me. So I thought that was kind of funny. I wanted to share that with you. So here's some feedback from one of our listeners. Thanks for the quick reply. I'm really enjoying your book and resources. While I'm not currently in construction, I am hoping to crack into it. I have some experience in lean manufacturing and a passion for construction. I truly believe it can transform the construction industry. Your concepts put everything I have thought into action. So I thought that was really neat. So let's go ahead and just get right into the principle today. So I want to say that everything must be visual. Whatever we're doing has to be visual. It must bring problems to the surface immediately. It must show clearly what the problem is to everyone. It needs to be easily understood. It needs to be easily checked. It needs to be actionable. It needs to be fast. It needs to be reliable. And it needs to begin immediately. So I'm talking here about latency. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story. Ever since I started to bring awareness to the fact that CPM is hurting our projects, our people, and our industry, and causing our industry to still lose money and lose production and head in a downward trend because it's of its prevalence in the United States. I've had some recovering schedulers, some CPM experts call me and give me a hard time. I think that's fantastic. Let's keep the healthy conflict going. But one person said, Jason, you're wrong. CPM is great. I had this project, and on the project, I noticed I just felt like something was wrong, and so I kept my eye on it. And we have these wonderful Power BI dashboards that filter out data for our schedules throughout the company. And sure enough, about 2 months later, that project showed up on our dashboards, and we went down there and swarmed and started to help recover the project. And I was like, hey, you just proved my point. You just proved my point. If it took you literally 2 months to notice the problem through Power BI and through all of these metrics and filtering it out of P6, that's 2 months. That's 2 months. With a Takt system or using Last Planner or Scrum, you could have found that within days, if not within hours. And so that's my little story, and that is exactly the problem. I don't care how, when people say, oh, the CPM can, we can still do this, you just have to know how to use it, or you just have to know how to QC it, or you're doing it wrong, or whatever. The problem still exists, that people can't see the problems and bring them to the surface as quickly as you can with other systems. And if it takes a Power BI dashboard for somebody to see a problem in a P6 schedule, that's a problem because the latency there is too long. Not to mention the fact that I can do a Takt plan and run a Takt system with CPM, not with CPM, but with Last Planner and Scrum in about 1/12 the time. Meaning where a project might need 1 or 2 schedulers, I don't need any schedulers at all to run an attack system. Or a company that might need a full scheduling department with a number of people, I don't need that at all. Or we can repurpose those people to be lean experts and help superintendents on projects out ahead of time. I don't need that at all when I'm using Takt because the system is so easy to manage. And so they proved my point. With a tax system, you can see at the place of work, the people can see, the super can see, the PM can see, the assistant supers can see, the field engineers can see, everyone can see together on the job site without Power BI, without a scheduling department, without schedulers, without all of these things, can see immediately problems, bring them to the surface, and act in under 5 hours in most cases, or at least decide to act. With Scrum systems, it's the exact same thing. That team, that small autonomous team in a sprint can see and fix problems with the right latency under 5 hours. With Last Planner, it's not as ideal, but you can still see those pretty much right away. And CPM, you're looking at weeks or months or never. I have seen people continually fake and adjust logic ties in their schedules and literally never see the problem until they're absolutely crash landing 100%. So again, whatever you do for scheduling systems or on site, it must be visual. It must bring problems to the surface immediately. It must show clearly what the problem is to everyone. It needs to be easily understood. It needs to be easily checked. It needs to be actionable. It needs to be fast. It needs to be reliable. And it needs to begin the recovery, the solving of problems needs to begin immediately. And that's when we put scheduling systems in the hands of the people on the project site that are at the place of work, doing the actual work. On we go.
Join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.